So I don't think brands necessarily care about Web3 to care about Web3. They care about Web3 because their target consumers care about Web3. And Web3 is just as much cultural as it is like a technological revolution. You can see that so clearly, at different NFT events and crypto Twitter and all of the places where this is manifesting. There is this subculture that, believes deeply in this future of the internet being on chain. And I think brands need to go wherever consumer attention is heading.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Wolfson, the host and founder of Web3 Deep Dive Podcast. Web3 Deep Dive Podcast focuses on real-world Web3 use cases to help you better understand how Web3 is being applied today and how it may be leveraged in the future. If this sounds interesting, I encourage you to subscribe, like, and share the content that you're seeing today to help spread the word about Web3. I also want to take this time to thank the sponsors behind Web3 Deep Dive Podcast. Wursta is producing Web3 Deep Dive Podcast and is a global technology consultancy agency with headquarters in Austin, Texas, and Quito, Ecuador. Wursta works with enterprises to help them make better technology decisions for their businesses. I also want to take the time to thank Banksa. Banksa is a leading crypto infrastructure payments provider. Be sure to check out Banksa for your Web3 project today. And without further ado, let's get started with Web3 Deep Dive. Hi, Avery. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you, Rachel?
I am doing well at Veecon, so of course I'm great. And Deanna, how's it going?
Outstanding. So excited to be here with you, Avery.
Yeah, the energy here at Veecon is just incredible. Avery, what are your thoughts on the conference so far?
Yes, this is year 2 of Veecon, and wow, in a year, the team has just really taken this in a whole new dimension. All the excitement and community of VFriends, all of the fun, all of the values that, VFriends is all about coming to life in this real life setting, which is really amazing. Plus, there's, of course, this business element, this entrepreneurship element, this innovation element, and so much pop culture, so which has been really nice to see all this coming together so naturally at this incredible location, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
Right. And so, Avery, you're the president of Vayner3. Can you explain your role and what Vayner3 is?
Absolutely. So Vayner3 is a consultancy that helps big brands and big companies navigate the next iteration of the internet. And, we started this company about 2 years ago, right as NFTs were just starting to take off, because what we observed was this, big shift in the way that consumers were wanting to experience the internet. We're coming off of this COVID era where everything was digital. Everything was all digital all the time. You're socializing digitally, you're ordering food digitally, just all of it. And consumers were ready for an internet that was more personalized and ownable and immersive, and that started really manifesting as digital collectibles or NFTs. And Gary was like, hey, this is a huge thing. This is going to change the world for marketing, for communication. So we launched what was called Vayner NFT at the time. But very quickly, we realized what our partners were looking for from us was broader and more expensive. They were looking for us to help them understand, cryptocurrency or metaverse or AR or all of these other things that kind of fall within this like marketing innovation bucket. So we expanded our purview as Vayner3 to include all of the above, and it's been a really fun journey.
What types of customers does Vayner3 work with?
Several of our customers are actually here activating this week, which is really special and amazing. We work with partners like Anheuser-Busch or PepsiCo or Diageo or Coinbase and many others, Coach, many others. So it's really nice to see some of those brands deciding to take part in the Veecon activations as well.
Some innovative early adopter brands there.
Yeah, I think it's innovative early adopter brands, but it's also brands that just care about cultural relevance and they are consumer obsessed. I was just moderating a panel with a couple of our partners, from the Reckitt Benckiesers and the Coaches and Alo Yoga. And the big thing that, was their takeaway is like innovation is required to drive business, right? Like, of course you have to do the tried and tested, but you also have to do things that push the envelope a little bit so your brand maintains relevance. So those are the kind of partners that we tend to work with. Often, those innovators, entrepreneurs is maybe the right way to say, because they're working within a big company, but they have this spirit of innovation and of progress. And I think that unites a lot of Vayner client partners is they're a little bit renegade.
For sure. Yeah, we sat down with Angelique from Aloe this morning and got to hear about some of the projects she's working on. What sort of services does Vayner3 provide? How do you help your customers innovate?
Yeah, so we are purely professional services business, which I think is unique and cool because we can really be unbiased about which are the right, vendors to work with and which ones maybe not yet. So we do everything from education. We do a lot of capability building, helping organizations both, train their teams on AI or understand how to use AR effectively, or, build capabilities around their own internal staff. So a lot about in that sort of learning and development, capability building. We do a lot in the world of strategy, whether that's one channel specific strategy, helping you crack your roadblock strategy, or something broader, how to connect your emerging channel strategy, or a specific brief like, hey, I'm launching this new soda and I want to do something that breaks through and does something that's unlike anything else. And then we do a lot of activation work as well. That's around maybe a big bet program, a specific tentpole moment, leveling up a campaign. But I would say our most popular offering is our innovation agency of record, which is basically how we work with most of our partners on helping them across multiple different initiatives, but being their strategic partners as they navigate this new wave.
Avery, why should brands care about Web3, and why should they care about Web3 now specifically?
Brands should care about culture, and brands care about consumer connection. I think the brands that are culture and consumer obsessed are the ones that crack the code. So I don't think brands necessarily care about Web3 to care about Web3. They care about Web3 because their target consumers care about Web3. And Web3 is just as much cultural as it is like a technological revolution. You can see that so clearly, at different NFT events and crypto Twitter and all of the places where this is manifesting. There is this subculture that, believes deeply in this future of the internet being on chain. And I think brands need to go wherever consumer attention is heading.
Right, definitely. Has it been challenging working with any brands? I mean, there must be challenges, right? Like massive challenges, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, there's always challenges, but with those challenges also come opportunities. And I think some of the challenging conversations we've had over the last 2 years are helping brands really prioritize the right things to do rather than being in a rush. I always like to tell our partners, honestly, we save them more money. That's a huge value that we have, is saving them money. Hey, you don't need to spend $500,000 buying a plot of land in the metaverse right now. Let's instead use that for something that's more aligned to where a broader base of your consumers are. So that's a huge thing that we do. I think a challenge is also that this particular cycle of crypto has been very volatile, and I think there's been some high highs and some low lows, and it can be a lot for big companies to understand and navigate. So some tough conversations just as things have shifted on a dime, right? Nobody wants to I did not want to make that call to say, FYI, this just happened with a company called FTX. So that was for sure a challenge. But with that also comes an opportunity to help educate our partners that all of these things are working together in a complementary fashion. They're not, your NFTs over here and your metaverse over here. It's all interlinked, right? And helps us and our partners just think more holistically and cohesively about how this stuff works together.
What are some of the most common questions or concerns you hear from your customers?
Questions are, is this real? Is this too early? And concerns are, this is a scam, this is a fad. This is not going to have meaningful scale potential for my brand. But I think the answer to all of those is we're early on this journey, and that's okay. Whenever you think about the marketing mix, the classic is 90% tried and true and 10% experimental and innovative. I was just going through this the other day with some partners, and the CMO was like, I saw this slide 20 years ago and digital was the 10% that was innovative, right? And he's like, and now we don't question that. Now the Metas and the Googles are all sitting in that tried and true bucket. We have to test because that's how we find find the next big thing. So that like spirit of innovation and of testing, I think that is the answer.
Right, and we are still early. The technology is still early. What do you think is missing today? What are some of the technologies that need to be built?
I think less so than technology missing. What's missing is something that really fundamentally makes people's lives dramatically better. And I'll use like the ChatGPT moment as an example of how AI has like already meaningfully improved lives of so many consumers. Within a month, 100 million people had used this tool to better understand, a question or a challenge that they were going through. We need that moment for Web3. And I think that the tech is there in certain ways. Of course, some of it's clunky. It's still sort of early, but I think it's a combination of needing smooth processes that are fast and efficient and safe and trusted, and needing a real reason to use this, because like the promise of the blockchain is incredible, but the applications for everyday consumer use cases are still emerging.
How is Vayner3 specifically encouraging? I mean, I know you're working with brands, obviously, Vayner3 is, but are there any other ways that the company is encouraging mainstream adoption for just individuals and consumers?
Well, I mean, absolutely, for sure. Here at Veecon, we brought a lot of our partners to come and listen and learn. So like, yes, they have to get an NFT ticket. They have to like understand how to use this. They see it, they feel it, they taste it. So we're doing a lot of that type of work. And we're also continuing to design experiences that have potential to scale. I think that what you'll see out of us in the next few months is far more strategy, less activation. I think a year ago we were doing a lot in the world of activations. And while that was great, it was limiting. And I think the moment in time where we are right now is we'll be doing a lot in the sort of strategy work, a lot in AI as well. It's been a very, very, very hot topic for a lot of our partners. So navigating that and seeing how AI can complement what's available with blockchain. There's such a there that I'm looking forward to cracking.
Right. Just out of curiosity, how did you get involved in the Web3 space? Because were you in Web2 traditional tech before this?
Yeah, so I actually worked at Google for 7 years across various different products. So that was really fun. And I joined VaynerMedia to learn every single thing about social media. And VaynerMedia is sort of Gary's core business. It's a multiple thousand person agency with offices all across the world. And that was great. And I learned everything about social media. And I actually opened our offices in all across Asia. And I got interested in Web3. For one, I'd sort of personally adopted crypto many years previously, but hadn't been very active. I wasn't like heavily trading or anything. And I got interested in it again when the sort of NFT boom started taking off. And a couple of my friends were like, hey, do you have Ethereum? And turned out I did. So I got interested in that personally. Gary got very interested, launched VeeFriends shortly after we launched Vayner NFT, and off we went.
Wow, that's awesome.
What are you most excited for in the future of Web3?
I'm excited for the continued culture of Web3. It's actually something that I think is underappreciated, is how special and unique the culture of Web3 really is. Just the wackiness and the weirdness and the creativity and that spirit that you can really feel. I look forward to seeing that continue to develop over time.
And how do you think that AI will play a role?
I think AI is going to play a role in everything in the future. While artificial intelligence is nothing new, the IBM supercomputer beat the chess grandmaster in 1996. The consumer-facing applications of AI are just starting to scratch the surface. So I think that we're going to see a proliferation of content created. And with that, there's also going to be a real question around verification of what is legitimate, what's coming from real sources, what's authorized. And I think we know that blockchain can be an incredible solve for that.
Avery, what are your thoughts on the current NFT market? Like, do you think that NFTs are going to continue gaining traction moving forward?
It's a loaded question, because I think the state of the NFT market in a lot of ways is like a really great niche community. It's vibrant. People are really into it. They have their codes and their, norms. And on the flip side, I think there's a big area of improvement in terms of making the culture less about speculation and like less financialized than it is today. So with that, I'm a very proud member of many NFT communities. Actually, just over there off camera, I see my World of Women, which they printed off for me as a gift for Veecon. I love it. I'm so happy to be a part of so many of these communities. But I think the future of NFTs is far more membership, loyalty, utility, art-based, way less financially speculation-based. So I think we'll see the next crop of sort of NFT participants come in with a new set of expectations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's
Same.
much better.
I agree.
So you fill a big seat as president of Vayner3 to all these great brands. How do you personally stay up to date with the latest trends?
Honestly, social media. I spend a lot of time just reading Twitter, seeing all the great stuff you guys put out. I do a podcast, which is always a good excuse.
Is that on CoinDesk, by the way? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I do Gen C. So I always have to do my homework every week to see what's trending. But honestly, I just try to stay up to date with what's happening across the business news and a few business news outlets, across a couple of my group chats, which are just like a curated group of super smart people, and of course, social.
Avery, what's your advice for getting more women and just more diverse faces into the industry?
There have to be more interesting consumer use cases, right? And I think Veecon's a great example of something that, wow, you want to go to Gary's conference, you need an NFT. We need more things like that is like actually creates desirable outcomes for participating in this world. So I think that would be the biggest sort of push, whether it's getting exclusive access to product, like what we're seeing Nike try to do, exclusive access to events, exclusive access to digital communities that have to be very desirable, right? This can't just be like a normal thing that you slap an NFT onto, but you have to create that desirability.
Definitely.
For women especially, who are going to be, just broadly less interested in gambling and flip life than a lot of the sort of bro culture that exists today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm excited because I'm not a World of Women NFT holder yet, but I, after talking to the community, I'm like, gosh, I need to be because I want to be a part of that because I believe in their values.
So happy to be here today with you, Avery. It's an inspiration to see what you've done leading this team. If you had advice for others who may be working in the industry and aspire to be in a position like yours, what would your advice be?
Yeah, stay humble, stay curious. Don't be afraid to make your mark. I think, a lot of times people are nervous to make that first move, but, be humble, be curious, look and listen and hear. And, when you see that opportunity, you should just go for it.
Definitely. Avery, we're going to wrap things up. I just want to know, how can our listeners contact you or be in touch with you if they want to ask you questions?
Avery Akkineni on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the places.
Got it. Thanks, Avery.
Thank you
Deanna.
so much.
Thank you, Avery.
Thanks.